breaking news, around the clock. One station making history every day. Chicago's talk leader, 89 WLS.
Get everything you need to know before you get to work and some high-energy common sense. Plus news, traffic, and weather first on the fives and some laughs. Bruce Wolf and Dan Croft. Mornings at 5 on Chicago's talk leader, 89 WLS.
Well, Lauren, what about this Obamacare and my dog, Zeus, the Wonder Dog? He's a great dog. Mm-hmm. I love him. I don't want to pay a lot for his upkeep. He's a great dog. He runs every day with my boys, the soccer players. They run him for miles. He eats a little bit of food every day so he doesn't get fat. But if he needs new kidneys, guess what? Sorry, Zeus.
Thanks, Obamacare.
Now, but we have
a guest on the line today, Dr. Mark Lutz-Chownig, the Director of the Governmental Relations of the American Veterinary Medical Association, to tell us how Obamacare is going to affect the veterinarians and you out there. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today, John and Lauren?
Pretty good.
Fine, thank you, Doctor.
Just a little upset about Obamacare, that's all.
Is it really? How's it going to affect veterinary prices?
Well, John, Zeus the Wonder Dog, you're absolutely right, might be subject to a little bit more costs when he goes to the veterinarian. And what the healthcare reform bill did was there's a 2.3% excise tax being applied to medical devices, and I'll explain that in a minute. And that law or that regulation went into effect January 1st. Now, medical devices are things like X-ray machines or endoscopes, which are little tubes with a camera on the end that veterinarians use to look into the stomach. And so now, as of January 1st, anytime a veterinarian buys one that's intended for use in humans, that will be subject to the 2.3% excise tax. Now, the tax is on manufacturers, but the concern, obviously, is that it will eventually be passed through to veterinarians and potentially passed through to pet owners when they take their pet to the veterinarian. Now, the tax itself, if you look at it, it's only the way the law was written. It's only for medical devices that are intended for human use.
So like IV pumps and scalpels.
Right, but if a manufacturer makes an IV pump that's only used in veterinary medicine, that's not taxed. But we know that a lot of our veterinarians and a lot of clinics do use equipment that is used in humans as well. And you brought up a good example, a fluid pump. Those are often, pumps that we buy that are used both in human and veterinary medicine. So something like that would be subject to the tax when the veterinarian purchases the equipment.
Do consumers right now struggle to pay for any pet care or anything for them? I mean, I know some can afford it, but others can't. And then this is just going to make it even harder for them to help, their cat or dog or whatever they have.
Sure. And veterinarians are very compassionate people. I was a companion animal practitioner, so I worked on dogs and cats. And, we want what's best for our clients and what's best for our patients. And we'll continue to do that. But, I think that, it could potentially impact the decision as to whether to either treat a certain way or to do a certain diagnostic test if it becomes too expensive for that pet owner.
Okay, I love dogs. Okay, I love pets. I wanted to be a veterinarian when I was a kid. My mom's from Guelph, Ontario, which is the home of the great Ontario Veterinary College, and I just love animals all my life. But can I ask you a question, Doctor?
Sure.
Do people treat their dogs like kids? And what is going on with this phenomenon? People say, my children. I hear it all the time in the waiting room.
Well,
like my baby, my child, this is my kid. It's got 4 legs, it licks its behind, and it's got a tail. And they talk about it like it's their kid. What is that about?
Well, we love them. And I think what you've seen over the years, John, is really a change in our perception of animals, especially in pets, where, they have truly become members of the family. And I have 2 dogs. One of them's named Phoebe the Wonder Dog, like Zeus. Uh-huh. And, they're part of our family. They're very important to my family. And And so I think it's just over the years, pets have become more of an integral part of the family, and they're really being treated, more. They're being treated as such, and that.
But doesn't it bother you? I mean, you're a man of science, doesn't it?
I am a man of science, yes, but I'm also a very compassionate veterinarian.
So am I. I'm a compassionate dog owner. I love dogs, but when they get, I've had hunting dogs all my life. When a dog had certain problems, like I had one that he had, seizures, and he was terrified. And if you drugged him, then he became listless. So I put him down. I didn't want him to be in pain.
Yeah.
And I can see people trying to keep that dog now alive and suffer so they can have their hands licked. And I wonder what you think of that.
I think there's really a balance there. And I think what's happened over the years, again, the human-animal bond has become much stronger. We're in closer contact with our animals. And also, I think science and veterinary medicine has changed in that, some of the things that we couldn't treat 20 or 30 years ago, science has enabled us to treat those things right now. And so I think the balance, and what I used to discuss a lot with my clients, is we don't want pets suffering. And one thing that, we can do with our pets is if they are suffering and it's something that's not treatable and they're suffering and they're in pain, we can put them to sleep.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Very humane thing to do for them.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Dr. Mark Lutz-Chownig, the Director of the Governmental Relations of the American Veterinary Medical Association. We're taking your calls, 591-8900 on Obamacare and pets.
Yeah, and it's very, sometimes you have to just, do that. You have to put them away,
Put away the pet? What? Put away your pet?
Stop it. Oh, okay.
Put away your pet?
I love my pet. I'm not going to touch him. I love him. He's
I'm
just
crying
so cute.
over here.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Lauren.
All right, John's having a meltdown, so we are back after this.
89 WLS.
Okay, texts are coming in. John, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say. I guess it was what? That a dog licks it behind and its own behind it, you call it your child?
Okay, let's not lose it again here in the studio.
We lost it.
Let's take
All
some
right,
calls.
Let's take some calls. All right, David. Daryl in Paxton. Daryl.
Hey, I know people. We've got pets. I'm a farmer, and we've got pets, dogs and cats. But I know people who spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on their dogs or cats, and they can't buy their kids shoes.
That's sad.
And I also know a lady who can't afford to buy dog food, so she buys steak with her link card for her Rottweilers.
Well, people get to do what they want to do. Okay, spend the money how they want to spend it.
Daryl, my dad was a farmer, too. Okay, he plowed with a mule named Truman, by the way. And
he named his mule Truman?
It's a long story. I'll tell you someday.
One other quick comment. You're talking about all that's going on with the Pope and everything else. The Bible tells us that the day will come when we will worship the creation rather than the Creator. And I think we're there.
Well, let's hope not. I don't know about that, but thank you for your call. Thanks a lot, Daryl. And let's see, Sean from Elmwood Parks. Sean.
Good morning. And if I may help Daryl out, I'll bet you the lady who buys steak for the Rottweiler with a Lynx card, I'll bet you $100 to $1 she voted for Obama in the last two elections. But here's what. This whole veterinarian law is on page 700. You've got another 2,000 pages to go. As you see, this liberty-sucking, life-killing Obamacare, which is total intent is not to help people, but to destroy capitalism.
Sean, stop the politics for a second. Do you think dogs are kids? Do you freak out when
No,
people
John,
say?
I have 2 dogs. I have a little Boston gentleman. You got to see this handsome devil. And I named him Mo Green because his eyeballs hang out of his head. And if he's going to cost me a sandwich off the table of my kids, Mo Green's. I'm going to put ketchup on him and tie him to a tree in the forest with her. Because it's about. He's just an acquaintance.
Sean, you're going to make my good co-host here lose it again.
Okay,
Please
thanks,
don't
Sean.
do that.
Thanks a lot. Listen, John Cass, Lauren Cohn.
Good
I
show.
love dogs. I love pets.
We know you do.
All right, don't go crazy. 89 WLS. John Cass, Lauren Cohn. We're back after this.
89.
WLS.
We want to thank Dr. Larry Chapp, DeSales University theologian, Alderman Bob Fioretti, who wants to kill the taste, Dan Ricardo, the economic professor from Rutgers, and Dr. Mark
Lutz Chownig, the director of the governmental relations of the American Veterinary Medical Association.
Yeah, the one that and we had our thing about dogs and kids.
Dogs and
so on.
kids, yeah.
Well, Lauren?
President's in town tomorrow.
Yes, I guess.
What time so we can all avoid the traffic?
And not only that, I guess he could come here and make a speech, but save the money so people can actually tour the White House, dude.
Right. There you go.
You know?
Yeah.
And also, we just found out that Lauren finally just realized that Gerard Butler has abs.
I got to sprint right home now and watch 300.
Yeah, she's going to go home and watch the 300 in advance of the Iranians filing lawsuit against Hollywood.
We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Right.
Gerard Butler's hot.
Oh, okay. John Cass, Lauren Cohn, 89 WLS. Thanks for listening, Lauren. See you in 22.
One station making history every day.
Are you better off than you were 4 years ago?
Gacy committed his murders over a 7-year period of time.
Chicago.